Oregon football just had the perfect response to their tough loss this weekend. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. Together with my buddy Aaron, we are the Big Ten guys. Tune in every day for the latest Big Ten news, insights, and analysis. If you're a fan of Oregon or any Big Ten football team, this is the channel for you. So don't miss out. Take just a quick second. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Got a lot more Oregon and Big Ten content coming. And let me tell you, Oregon fans, the season is still alive and well. This is still a team that's going to compete for the championship. And I think their response to this game against Indiana is a big part of why. But before I get going into that, do me a solid. Let me know in the comments, what were your thoughts on the game? What do you think went wrong? Who were you impressed with? What do you expect moving forward? We always like to hear from you, so let me know. But it's tough to know, like, whenever a team loses a tough, hard fought game, it's tough to know how they're going to respond. I mean, you watch Penn State respond to their tough loss to Oregon, and it's been ugly. And I think you're going to get people who say, oh, this Penn State team was never that good. Oregon just, they struggled with a mediocre team, and now Penn State's exposed, and yada, yada, yada. That's garbage. This was an elite Penn State team. They were a top 10 school, and I truly believe that they've been hearing for years and years and years, like, you're not in the top tier of the Big Ten. But finally, this was their year. They were supposed to be in the top tier. A lot of people picked them to win it. They have the home game, the whiteout, and they still just got straight up beat by Oregon. And I think it just, broke their soul. Just crushed their spirit. They felt like this was their year to be that team to finally get over the hump. And that Oregon game just showed them, nope, still not there. And I think Franklin lost the locker room, and I think the team lost belief in itself. And I think that's why you're seeing these losses to UCLA and Northwestern. And gosh, Oregon, they fired 3 coaches this year. Oregon State, Oklahoma State, Penn State. Oregon just physically broke all 3 teams, and now they're all looking for new coaches. It's wild. But anyways, what I like from Oregon is that they're showing, we're going to bounce back. This was one game. We're working hard. It's a great, they're already just focused on the next game. Lanning came right out and was just like, look, we got a great opportunity in front of us to play a talented Rutgers team that we have a lot of respect for. And then he goes on to say, we're just ready to attack. Nobody was satisfied with the result on Sunday. We're finding ways to get better. He said Dante Moore has been using this as a leadership opportunity, and he's been finding ways man, what could I have done better? And the team is just following that lead from him. Everybody's just looking at where was nobody's pointing fingers, nobody's giving up, nobody's talking about how the sky is falling. They're just okay, we can learn from this. Where did what mistakes did I make? How can I get better? And how can we become the best version of ourselves? I think that's a amazing mentality, because you see, this is a new era of college football. This isn't 1995 where one loss might have just ended your season and now you're playing to maybe make the Outback Bowl. Most teams lose a game in the regular season, and you saw last year it kind of fueled some teams. Ohio State lost to Oregon in the regular season and then just had an abomination of a loss to Michigan at the end of the season, and it fueled them. It angered them, and they came into the playoffs with a chip on their shoulder and did the same thing that Oregon's doing now, where they didn't make excuses. They tried to fight Michigan after the game, but once they, gathered themselves, they just figured out, how are we going to get better and what are we going to do moving forward? Let's play with a chip on our shoulder, put our heads down, and they won the national championship. And you saw the team they beat in the Natty was Notre Dame, who had maybe the worst loss of anyone last year, losing to Northern Illinois. But it was the same thing. They didn't get down on themselves. It didn't end their season. They didn't stop believing in themselves. They just fixed their mistakes and they went out there and they got better and they went on a run to the national championship. And that is what I expect to see from Oregon as well. Kind of looking ahead at their schedule, like at Rutgers, that's not going to be a tough game. Rutgers, they're scrappy. They're not going to, it's not going to be 69-3, but I expect probably a 4-touchdown win for Oregon. Wisconsin's not good. On the road against Iowa and on the road against Washington. Neither of those are easy games, and I think Washington, it wouldn't surprise me if they're ranked when they play this game, but I think Oregon is perfectly good enough to handle both of those. And then USC is a tough team. I'm a Michigan fan. I can tell you firsthand that's a good football team. But I think in Eugene, I like the Ducks there as well. No reason they can't run the table, go 11-1. They still college football playoff odds right now. They were a minus 2,000 to make the playoffs. That fell all the way to minus 250 now, but still they're saying the Oregon is 2.5 times more likely to make the playoffs than they are to miss it. Like, it's very likely they're in. Honestly, they might even be able to lose a second game and still make the playoffs. They're well on their way. And I know all we heard last year from Oregon fans is how much that bye week killed them. So maybe if you lost the bye week here, maybe that's a good thing. I could definitely see this being a scenario where at the end of the season, Oregon and their fans are both happy. Like, yeah, this loss, it stunk, but it was good to get punched in the face and know like where we can get better, how elite teams are going to attack us so we can prepare better for it. And then you don't have the bye week, so you can be more on your top game, not having rested like an entire month before it, and still gear up for that national title run, which I think is the goal for everybody right now at Oregon. And then one other bit of news I thought was funny is Greg Schiano was asked coming into the game about the NIL gap. And if you remember, Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State went on a big-time rant just like roasting the Ducks before that game about like NIL money. And that just put a huge chip on the shoulder of Oregon. And they, what was it? I think I just saw 69-3, just demolished them. Mike Gundy's fired now. And Greg Schiano was smart enough to not take the bait. He says, how wide the gap is really doesn't matter. That's where we find ourselves. People like to talk about these gaps. There's always haves and haves not in college football, but I think the gaps are actually going to start to close a little bit in the NIL era, which is good. And he didn't make excuses. He didn't talk about how they shouldn't be playing like Mike Gundy did. I think he saw what happened to Gundy and the Cowboys in that game and was like, I don't want any part of that. We're already probably going to get Oregon's best shot because they're angry about Indiana. We don't need to rile up the beast anymore. So, Oregon fans, let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts on the loss, the team moving forward, how you felt about the way they responded to this loss, and I'll do my best to respond to as many of you as possible. And then don't forget, just like and subscribe on the way out.